brother Tazaba, coming back to you through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Shem Yahweh Shai. Before I start off, I would like to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Shem Yahweh Shai, Shem Kakadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the elect out there. The spreading His word is sincere and in truth all over the four corners of the earth. Let your speech be seasoned. Let your speech be seasoned, man. Now, that's what it means to have some salting, to know how to answer every man, to know how to respond to certain questions. Okay, it got certain individuals out there talking about y'all sound like a broken record. You're always repeating the same things, but that's what it is, man. The seasoning remains the same. You got recipes, Caribbean recipes from back in the days, man. They remain the same, man. If you see someone changing up the recipe, you know, people gonna complain about it, man. They gonna say you don't really know how to make it. Jerk chicken, bon chicora, you have all these Caribbean dishes that have to be made according to a certain recipe, man, with certain seasoning. Adobo, you know, you got all these seasoning, lemon pepper, jerk. So if you switch it up, it ain't the real thing. So when it comes to these breakdowns, it it is what it is, man. Whether you heard it before, it doesn't freaking matter, man. Okay, it doesn't freaking matter. We say it with the original seasoning. We say it with the original explanation. That is to be understood. If you're trying to be all fancy and create something new, most likely you're gonna butcher it, man. You know, we have certain ways of explaining breakdowns. We have certain examples that we give to the flock that a breakdown becomes understandable. You see, so the scripture says this, Colossians 4 and 6, let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, that ye know how ye ought to answer every man. Well, almost turned into you in the UK, brother. Answer. How to answer every man. Okay. Yeah, we get the UK English in school, but the English you predominantly speak in the streets is American English. We drink from that golden cup over here in Holland. Anyway, so your speech needs to be seasoned with salt, man. Okay, it needs to have some flavor. You need to bring out examples to pass the understanding. Okay, now those examples that you bring out are gonna be used again by other brothers, man, in the faith. Okay, it's not uncommon for a brother to just reuse a certain example, because like the elder apostle Gabar oftentimes said, he said in the beginning, you're like a parrot. You just repeat what you heard. But then later on, walking in this truth, you're gonna be able to make certain examples for yourself, and along the way, those examples, backing up the breakdown, are gonna be reused over and over again. You know how many times I say in the camp, I've said this before, or like I always say, this, that, and the third. I even confirm that I say it all the time, or that I give the example all the time. But I don't give a fuck. The understanding of what I'm trying to say is being passed on. So why should I change it up? It's seasoned. It's the perfect seasoning. I wouldn't say perfect, but it's a good seasoning. To so that you can consume the recipe. Because really, what we are serving is food. We are serving food. The food is the scriptures. Okay? The food is the scriptures, man. Like the scriptures say, it's bread, it's meat, okay? It's oil, it's wine, it's milk, it's honey. So we serving food, man. It has to be seasoned with the right seasoning. So it says 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 2. And the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou to faithful men, who shall be able to teach others also. So with the explanations, with the breakdowns, with the examples, okay, other brothers get edified. And now other brothers are able to explain it also. Now certain examples are being made among certain people. Like the Apostle Paul said, okay, to the weak I became weak. To them that are under the law is under the law. Okay? To them that are without the law is without the law, that I might gain some. So you need to apply certain wisdom and examples to different kinds of people, man. Okay? So that they can understand, so that they can relate to what you're saying. Okay? The reason we don't understand certain scriptures sometimes, or we like, oh, well, what is he talking about in these scriptures? Is because we don't live in that time. So we cannot paint a picture that good as the people that lived in those days of what the situation was. So now, if I want to break it down um, to us in these latter days, you know, it's important that you give an example that people can relate to, and then be like, oh, it's like that. And you say, yeah, that's how it is. You see, and that's up to the teacher, man. Okay, and along the way, you will become more skilled in having your examples already, you know, scriptures you already broke down before, so you just give the same exact breakdown with the same examples, you know, and then it becomes like a, yeah, broken record, the same thing over and over again. But why would it bother you if you heard a breakdown before and the example already before? Then why would it bother you? Actually, you are now being trained, you know, by listening to the same tape over and over again. What does an artist do? When an artist makes an album and is about to go on tour or whatever, the artist has to re-listen the tape over and over again. Because why? That's rehearsing. Rehearsing. Okay? This is 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 24. And the servant of the Lord must not strive, but be gentle unto all men, apt to teach, patient. Now, when you go into that word apt, it says skilled in teaching. Let me go to it. I can go to it, no problem. But I want to bring out one last scripture before I reach the job. That's why I'm like, okay, it says apt to teach. The word apt, didact, didacticos, didacticos. Apt and skillful in teaching, you see? And having skill. Know and what defines your skill? Knowing what to break down and how to break it down. How to put the salt over it. If you would ask me a question and I would read the scripture and I would just say, this is what it is, and you're like, okay, but then how and what and where, and you know, you end up with more questions than you had before you asked the question. Okay, that's why I always, when I go into study sessions with brothers, I always tell them to put precepts that clarify what it means. If you put precepts that that bring up more questions, then it's not a good precept. then it's a good precept for those that are skilled, because if they already know the precept, then they see like, oh, okay, this is a connection because of that breakdown. They have to know the breakdown. But if they go into a scripture, if you go into a scripture and then pull up a deep breakdown that people do not understand, it's gonna raise up more questions, man. And you don't want to do that. You want to have your speech seasoned with salt. You want to pass on understanding to the flock. So you gotta be wise concerning that. Okay. Let me see. There's one more scripture I want to pull up, which is Hebrews 5, if I'm correct. Hebrews 5. This is Hebrews 5 and 12. For when ye, for when the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of the Most High, and now become such as have need of milk and not strong meat. Okay, so a breakdown might be more of a difficult level, but with a good explanation, with a good breakdown, with a good example, it can be made easier to be understood. That's the job of a teacher, man. A teacher has to simplify the scriptures, not by retranslating it in the wrong way, but no. Um, it's like basically like a package. Okay, from the outside, when you look at the box, you don't know what's inside. But now you're gonna shape it in the form of what is inside. Now you're gonna start. Now you start to see, and then when you finally see it, you can open the package. You understand? So the teachers have the duty to um, really break it down to the point of understanding, so that those who are to be teachers, can eventually also teach others, and are seasoned also, seasoned and are well seasoned, and can explain the meats. For everyone that uses milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he's a babe, so he needs to learn. Whose job is that? That's the job of the teachers. Pass on the understanding, pass on the wisdom. You see, let me see. There's one more in Mark, if I'm correct. Have salt in you. This is Mark chapter 9, verse 50. Salt is good, but if salt have lost his saltness, wherewith will ye season it? Have salt in yourselves, and have peace one with another. So you gotta have salt in yourself, man. You gotta have that flavor, man. You gotta make sure you know how to go over these precepts and pass on the understanding. Because at the end of the day, that's what the Lord commanded us to do. He said, "If you love me, what? If you love me, sheep, feed my sheep." This is John 21:16. He said to him again the second time, "Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me?" He said unto him, "Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee." He said unto him, "Feed my sheep." How do we feed the sheep? Sheep, breaking down the scriptures, passing on the understanding, giving good examples so the scriptures could be understood. Okay? So with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushua Bashem Kakadash. Shalom to the elect.